What's good, people? It's your boy Lowry.
True hippie.
What's good, man? Welcome to the Everything Lowry Show, your weekly rundown for all of the hottest entertainment news of the week. I am your host. I am your boy Lowry. Oh, sorry, I just had a message there. Yeah, welcome to the show. First off, apologies for missing last week, man. There's been a nasty bug going around and it got me, man. But I'm back. I'm back here tonight. I'm ready to dive into some pretty exciting topics for tonight. We're kicking things off with the latest on Tron Ares and its box office performance. Then I'll be breaking down sorry about that. Then I'll be breaking down the Apple TV Plus rebrand. After that, we've got some news on another reboot. I know on last week's show I spoke about a reboot, and this time it's for Prison Break. Yes, guys, there is another Prison Break coming. We have some massive updates on the potential sale of Warner Bros. Discovery. Yes, they might be being bought by someone. And then we will wrap the show up with the final season of Stranger Things. But before I get into my main topics of tonight, I got a question for you guys. Is Friends genuinely one of the greatest sitcoms ever? Is Friends genuinely one of the greatest sitcoms ever? Or is it overhyped? Is it overrated? And the reason, actually, no, before I get into my reason, make sure you drop in the chat if you like Friends or if you don't like Friends, let me know. But the reason why I asked this question is that online, I've been seeing some people saying that Friends is overrated. I thought Friends was universally loved, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Now, I'm not a loyal follower of Friends. I've watched episodes here or there. Wifey's a massive Friends fan. She knows every Friends episode off by heart. Episode 1 all the way to, I don't know, however many episodes there were. We've been to Friends Fest here in the UK, Friends Fest Festival, which was pretty fun. It was cool. It was nice to see some of the iconic episodes being brought to life and how they did it, and the props and stuff and stuff that they used. But yeah, I was quite surprised to hear that people don't rate Friends as much as I thought they did. You know, Friends remains one of the most watched sitcoms of all time, especially on streaming. But recently, I've been seeing people critique it and saying that it hasn't aged well. The humor isn't as funny. Like, the humor hasn't aged well over the years. The diversity in the show doesn't exist. And the storytelling isn't that great. So, yeah, those three things surprised me. I've also seen stuff online stating that Friends has apparently copied the premise of another show called Living Single, which premiered a year before Friends actually officially released. If you haven't heard of this show, Living Single followed six friends, 4 women, 2 men, living in Brooklyn, navigating careers, relationships, and friendships. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? The cultural impact of the show was big, especially in America, and it was most known for showcasing professional Black women and friendship dynamics, something that you didn't really see on TV at the time. Notable cast members: Queen Latifah, Kim Coles, Erica Alexandra, T.C. Carson. And yeah, it was like one of the first sitcoms to center on a group of successful friends, successful Black friends, without focusing on family drama and the negative that sometimes you see when it comes to TV shows or films with a predominantly Black cast. Friends premiered in 1994, a year after Living Single. Similar setup, a close-knit group of friends, 6 friends in a city apartment in New York. Same themes like dating, career struggles, friendship dynamics overlap and stuff. But yeah, stuff that I've been seeing online, critics and fans have noticed that apparently Friends borrowed a lot of elements from the Living Single structure and the characters. But Friends differentiated itself by leaning more towards a more generalized audience compared to living single. So I'm quite surprised by this. Like I said, I thought that Friends was loved universally, but people online don't rate Friends. So let me know in the chat if you guys rate Friends. Is it one of your favorite sitcoms of all time, or do you think it's overrated? Let me know in the chat. We've got some people in the building. By the way, guys, I have 2 streams at the moment. So some of you will be watching it on vertical with my poster down below, and some of you will be watching it horizontal. So if you switch to either one, depending on what you feel like. But yeah, I'm trying something new tonight and a different angle. If you notice, the camera is a different angle. Let me know if it's looking all good, sounding all good, because this is a new setup. But we've got some Friends haters in the building. Overrated. So we've got someone in the chat saying Friends is overrated 100%. Also, we've got another comment. Do you think there's been more quality in indie films than blockbuster movies? So I would say, and I need to fact check this, but I think for 2025, most definitely it feels like the smaller budget films have produced better movies. And when I mean smaller budget, this is relative to the movie business, the movie industry, because a blockbuster film tends to be around the 150, $200 million mark for a blockbuster movie, budget wise. And indie films can mean many things. Smaller budget, more of an independent studio, not linked to anything legacy or massive. An art house type film, so really different from what you see on the blockbuster. So indie can mean a load of things. And I would say, yeah, I think there has been more quality in the indie type films, especially when it comes to like Weapons, Sinners. There's a few comedy films that I've dropped this year. I actually watched an Indonesian film last week that I'm going to talk about probably on next week's show, that I thought was really good. So to answer that question, I think the indie films have definitely produced, in my opinion, better movies than the big blockbusters. Because what we had this year, we've had Minecraft movie, Formula One. I'd say it was a big blockbuster movie. Jurassic was it Rebirth? Jurassic World Rebirth. I enjoyed that. So, but I feel like I've enjoyed more independent movies, I would say. We've got more people in the chat. What's good? Thank you for joining in. Let me know if this new 8 p.m. time slot works as well. I'm not too sure how this is working with everyone. And I only moved it because of Traitors. Here in the UK, if you're watching from outside of the UK, cool. But here in the UK, there's a show called Traitors. And right now, I ain't got the BBC budget to be competing with that. So I'm trying to get as much of you guys watching my show as possible. But yes. But okay, cool. Now that we got that first topic out of the way, let's get into the first bit of news for tonight. And we're going to be talking about Tron Ares. Now, I reviewed this film, Tron Ares. I reviewed this film 2 weeks ago. And, I said it was cool. It wasn't totally terrible, but it wasn't amazing. And as the weeks have gone by, I've had people in my comments saying they loved the film, but then I've had people saying they hate it, they thought it was terrible, it was rubbish. So the general consensus for this film that it leans more into the not so great movie. And unfortunately, it looks like Tron Ares is set to lose Disney round about $132 million. So let's get into this news. So Deadline reports there is more bleeding red neon than imagined coming out of Disney's Tron Ares. Deadline has learned from sources that the third chapter in the 43-year-old video game Matrix protagonist story actually cost $220 million net, not the reported 170 to 180 million that was floated out there. This means that the Jared Leto, Greta Lee, Jeff Bridges, lightcycle movie is headed for a $132.7 million loss after all ancillaries. That's if its final global gross smacks dead into a wall at $160 million. The Joaquin Ronin directed movie counted through its second weekend as of Sunday, a running worldwide accumulation of $103 million with a 67% second weekend domestic plummet. So that means from the first week, the cinemas saw a 67% drop in people going in, to watch this film in the cinema. That's crazy. I mean, what can we say? There's a few things that after watching this movie and seeing the discussion online, it makes sense as to why Tron Ares, in my opinion, wasn't really a smash hit that Disney thought it would be. Apparently, some news broke online that there were some creative issues with the film. So the director reportedly disagreed with the studio's approved script, and there were multiple rewrites, loads of reshoots, and the general consensus online about this, and these are rumors, these are not facts, is that there was an unclear creative direction of the film. And you can kind of feel that, because one of my negative critiques about this Tron Ares movie is that I wanted a bit more Tron. I wanted a bit more of that Tron legacy that really gets you out of your seat and gets you excited. Don't get me wrong, there are elements of that in this film, but it lacked it in my opinion. So I kind of agree that this film didn't know where it wanted to lean into. It didn't know whether it wanted to be more of a Tron legacy type movie and just spectacle us to death, or if they wanted to try to do something new, which they did, bringing AI into the real world and as such. But the themes that they highlighted in the film, they didn't really dive into any of them with any depth. So you left the cinema just feeling empty. Like, okay, I saw lots of glitz and glam and, Jared Leto in this wicked Tron costume and stuff. But apart from that, guys, there's not much to it. Speaking of Jared Leto, now, I wasn't privy to a lot of the information prior to watching this film, but I posted on my Instagram, I think, going to watch Tron, and quite a few people were like, I'm not watching this film because of Jared Leto. Now, I can't really say what the rumors are with Jared Leto. You have to go online to find out. But there's links to him being in a cult and some other things that if I mention, YouTube will take me down and TikTok will take me down and stuff. But genuinely just not, he's not a nice person. He's not a good person. Rumored to be not a good person. So having Jared Leto attached to a blockbuster movie, and what we've seen recently in recent times, people are voting with their pockets. The recent Captain America film didn't do well financially. The Gal Gadot starring Snow White movie didn't do well financially. People are now voting with their pockets, especially when it comes to actors or musicians that are not good people in society. So yeah, it's a question mark as to how Jared Leto is still being accepted for these big roles. Because I actually think if you had someone else in Jared Leto's role, I actually think the film, I don't think it would have massively improved the financials, but I don't think the film would have had that lingering over it. So I think people would have maybe been a bit more accepting to the film. And also Jared Leto is supposed to be in the new he's playing apparently Skeletor in the Masters of the Universe. So it will be interesting to see what happens with that movie, because Jared Leto's name ain't bringing people into the cinema. And that's one of the key things that you need especially when you're doing big IP, you need actors that people love to go and watch on the big screen. So that's one of the things that troubled this film. Tron in general, though, has struggled outside its cult fan base. Even the original, I don't think was a cinema success financially, but over the years, and multiple rewatches and what it did at the time for visual effects and stuff, it gained a cult fan base. But in saying that, I don't think Tron has done a good job of trying to find its footing with the younger audience, because they are the next generation that will continue to see these types of movies. And I think when you focus solely on your cult following and you ignore a whole other audience, then you kind of get this. And a franchise that I can think of is Dune, with first movie, not the recent, but the one that came out in the 80s, didn't do so well. It left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. But the new Dune with Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Jeff Bridges is in there. Is it Jeff Bridges? No. Anyway, a whole load of actors. I think Dune has done really well to bring in the cult readers, the people who love the books. They've done well to get an older demographic, getting actors that people know and love, and then getting the younger guys with the Zendayas and the Timothée Chalamets. And I think that is a perfect mixture and probably a perfect way on how to bring a legacy IP to the modern audiences. And I don't think Tron did that well with this film. They kind of just relied on tried and tested methods. So it's unfortunate. $132 million is a lot to lose, especially in this day and age, with everyone fighting for what's good, SK, welcome to the stream, appreciate it. Everyone fighting for people's money. You're battling with streaming, you're battling with Fire Sticks, you're battling with a lot. So there's rumors online stating that the Tron franchise at the moment is kind of on ice, and they're going to see how it plays out. I don't think we're going to get another Tron film for a while, until they kind of figure out how to push forward with this movie, because you can't keep losing, hundreds of millions of dollars with films. But unfortunately, Tron has lost a load of money at the box office, and it doesn't look like it's going to be improving anytime soon. But if more news becomes available, I'll be keeping you guys in the loop. So yeah. Got more people in the chat. Welcome. All right, cool. We're going to take it to one of my favorite streaming platforms, and them doing something really confusing and something that isn't really like them to do. And we're going to be talking about Apple TV Plus. Apple TV Plus is going through a rebrand, and they're going to be dropping the plus from the name. So let's get into this news. So Hollywood Reporter says, as if teaching your dad the difference between Apple TV and Apple TV Plus was not difficult enough before, on Monday just gone, Apple quietly rebranded its subscription video on demand service, Apple TV Plus, as just Apple TV. The intention is to provide the streamer with a vibrant new identity. Apple said, but as anyone with a second grade education knows, minusing the plus can often result in a negative. Apple buried its TV Plus/TV rebrand in a press release announcing the streaming premiere date for the Formula One movie that released in cinemas first during the summer, and that will release on Apple TV Plus, or Apple TV now, sorry, on the 12th of December. That movie stars Brad Pitt, Damson Idris, and a whole load of other actors. Great film, by the way. One of my favorite movies of this year. And yeah, I'm not going to bore you with other stuff, but this is so confusing, because Apple, I've always said Apple TV Plus is one of my favorite streaming platforms, especially when it comes to dramas. I think Netflix are a staple. They're not going anywhere. They appeal to so many demographics, so many genres. You can go on Netflix and you can literally find anything that you want to watch. But I'm someone who loves. I'm a film and TV purist. I like my Dubai bling. I like the shows that you can just switch your brain off and watch here and there. But for the most part, I do like quality things that make my brain have to think, and characters that are you connect emotionally with, and cinematography. I like that. And Apple TV Plus, as is for now, delivers on that. I'm talking about shows like Slow Horses, Severance, Silo, Pachinko. Who else is there? Presumed Innocent. Then they've got comedies like Ted Lasso. You've also got Stick, which was like a golf comedy TV show. The Studio that released earlier this year. Like the list of their TV series, I don't think right now anyone is competing with them on a quality standpoint. Probably HBO, but I don't think HBO release enough TV shows throughout the year. But with that said, I've always said that Apple have found it difficult to market this streaming platform. And now removing the plus from it is going to confuse people who aren't really in the loop of Apple TV Plus stuff in general. Because for those who don't know, Apple TV is a device, currently is a device that is a streaming product that you plug a HDMI in, and it turns your non-smart TV into a smart TV, and you're able to download apps. You can mirror your phone on there, and it's a great device. I use my Apple TV every day. And then Apple TV Plus made sense because that was the app, that was the software side of things. But now that you drop the plus, when you're going to be speaking to people about, oh, have you seen this show on Apple TV? It's going to be confusing because someone's going to think, oh, you're talking about the actual product, or are you talking about the streaming platform? It's going to, so I don't know why. And it's very un-Apple-like to do something like this because they are known, they're renowned for being almost revolutionizing how you market a product. If you watch how they market their iPhones and iPads and stuff, no one competes with them in that ballpark. So I get that they're saying, oh, this is going to be a vibrant new identity and such. The only thing I can think of is that they're going to stop with the actual Apple TV Plus hardware and maybe just move everything to an app. Maybe that could be a reason why they're doing that. We haven't seen a new Apple TV device in many, many years now. And now with smart TVs becoming better and better, you can actually just download the Apple TV app. So maybe we're not going to see a new product, and this is probably alluding to that. But yeah, very strange. But if you haven't got Apple TV, guys, it's one of the best TV streaming services you can get. So I fully recommend that. And let me know if you guys have watched any shows on Apple TV Plus. But yeah, look, I thought I'd quickly keep you guys in the loop with that. If any more news becomes available for Apple TV stuff, of course, I'll be keeping you guys in the loop with that. Got some more in the chat here. I never realized it was Plus. I just say Apple TV. Okay, that's interesting. That's actually interesting. Okay, so maybe I might be wrong. I might be wrong in saying that maybe a load of other people actually say, oh, I'm watching it on Apple TV. And that could be the case. All right, cool. We're getting to the next bit of news for tonight. And unfortunately, it's another reboot. I know on the last show, I spoke about Heat 2. And a load of people in my comments have been upset about a Heat 2 sequel. And I actually, I know it's based on the second book, but I think classic things should be left alone. And I feel that this show have been left alone. But guys, we are getting another Prison Break. We're getting a Prison Break reboot, which is set to release on Hulu. So let's get into this news. Hulu has greenlit a reboot of Prison Break. The project was first reported in the works at Hulu in December 2024 with a pilot order. The cast includes Emily Browning as Cassidy, Drake Roger as Tommy, Lucas Gage as Jackson, Clayton Cardenas, I hope I pronounced their name correctly, as Michael, aka Ghost, J.R. Bourne as Junior, Georgie Flores as Andrea, and Miles Bullock as Darius. aka Red. As previously reported, the new show is set in the same world as the original series, but will feature different characters and a new storyline. The official logline states an ex-soldier and corrections officer, who's going to be Browning in the series, takes a job at one of the deadliest prisons in America to prove just how far she'll go for someone she loves. I don't know about this, guys. Prison Break, that first season of Prison Break, you just had to be there. You just had to be there. That first season of Prison Break was like lightning in a bottle. We hadn't seen Shawshank Redemption. I mean, one of the highly rated IMDb films of all time, and Prison Break obviously borrowed a lot from that movie, but they did it in such a way, they like modernized it and refreshed it, and it was a TV series over multiple episodes. And yeah, man, that first season of Prison Break, oof. Michael Scofield tattooing his body with the whole blueprint of the prison to help his brother to get his brother out of jail, escape death row. Yeah, man, one of a kind. And then you know what? I'd say like season 2, they break out of jail and they're on the run. They're getting chased by the law enforcement. There's that cat and mouse thing. Cool. I can accept that. I liked it. Wasn't as good as the first season, but it was still good. Even season 3, which I don't think a lot of people like it as much, but I enjoyed it. It was the Sona one, the prison that was in Panama. Michael ends up in this prison, and then his brother now has to, it's the reverse basically. He has to go in and break him out of this prison. The Sona prison is just like mad militant. Like it's not like the American prison. So even that season 3, I enjoyed that. But then it got to like season 4, and then you had the company, and then you had this guy with, I think, sunglasses just walking around like some Jason Voorhees type character, chasing down Michael and his brother. And I'm like, okay, cool. It ended there. And then in like 2017, they bring out a season 5. Spoiler alert, by the way, guys, if you've not watched it, apologies. But Michael Scofield was basically dead in season 4. And then somehow he's been revealed to be alive all this time in Yemen under a new identity. I mean, I watched like, I think one or two episodes of that season 5, and I was like, nah, that's it. No more. So I don't know, man. I feel they should just leave Prison Break alone. Make another breakout of prison show, but don't call it Prison Break. I get people that Prison Break's name, as soon as someone hears that, because season 1 was so good, people like myself will keep coming back to watch it because you just kind of want that you want that experience again. But we ain't gonna get it. So I don't understand why they are rebooting it again. And it's not like they're going to do anything different. The reboot is aiming to explore the similar themes of loyalty, sacrifice, and survival, but just for a new generation. So I'm someone that says, look, if you're going to reboot something, do it like Top Gun Maverick. Totally different from the first film, but one of the best cinematic experiences I've had in the past 5 years. That's how you do a reboot. Even the recent Scream movies, they rebooted it, but fair enough, it follows similar traits from the older movies, but they modernized it, they made it fresh, they made it feel different. I'm hoping they can do that with this series. Hulu actually brings out some decent television shows, so I could be wrong here, but my first feeling reading this news to you guys is that allow the reboots. No more reboots, man. We need to start having new ideas and different writers and just do things different. But let me know in the chat, guys. Have you watched Prison Break? Did you like Prison Break? It's one of my favorite season 1 TV shows, like I've said already. But yeah, look, we're getting a new Prison Break season, and there's no release date just yet, but it's going to be on Hulu, aka Disney Plus. So it will be interesting to see if they do it as a weekly release or if it's going to be, you know, all at once like Netflix does. But yeah, I'll keep you posted when more information comes out about Prison Break. But yeah, they need to allow the reboots, man. All right, cool. We get into some of the... Oh, we're doing all right for time, actually. But I just need to take a water break. All right, let's take it to the next big news for tonight. And this one's come out of nowhere. This one has come out of nowhere. And guys, Warner Bros. Discovery has put itself up for sale. Let's get into this news. So Warner Bros. Discovery, the owner of HBO, CNN, and other streaming and studio businesses, said this week on Tuesday that it's putting itself up for sale. In a press release, the company announced a review of strategic alternatives to maximize shareholder value, which is basically the Wall Street version of, yo, we're selling. Warner Bros. Discovery said it had recently received unsolicited interest from multiple parties for both the entire company and Warner Bros. Alone. Warner Bros. Discovery houses a variety of media businesses, from cable networks, news outlets, to popular franchises, movie studios, and streaming platforms. The company also holds the rights to broadcast a range of sports internationally, from the Olympics to the French Open, and here in the UK, the Premier League. The company has said that while it shops itself around, it will continue to work on the previously announced split of its cable networks from its streaming and studio businesses. Massive news, guys. This is game changing. So, in a nutshell, Warner Bros. Has put itself up for sale, and it's now officially listening to offers from whoever wants to buy them. Now, there were rumors early this year that Apple were in talks, like, hey, yo, we could buy you. Netflix were apparently and are apparently still in talks for the potential purchase of Warner Bros. Discovery. And Paramount is also in talks for the purchase of Warner Bros. Discovery. Now, these are all rumors, so nothing is concrete, but these names are floating, and you're probably going to get some investors from other these investment groups that would buy, you know, because this is a $45 billion company, so your pockets are going to need to be deep for this. But yeah, guys, this is... I didn't think this would ever happen. Warner Bros. Is one of the legacy Hollywood studios. They were founded in 1923. They're up there with Paramount Pictures, Universal Pictures, 20th Century Fox before Disney bought them, MGM. But like I've been saying on my previous shows, guys, the streaming wars are happening, and they're happening rapid. I think the reason for this is that, you know, and by the way, Warner Bros. Had a really good year. They've released 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They've released 8 films this year, and apparently they're set to cross $4 billion at box office. A Minecraft movie made close to $1 billion. Formula One movie made over $500 million. Superman made over $500 million. Conjuring did really well, over 400 million. Sinners did extremely well, 366 million. Final Destination, 313 million. Weapons, 264 million. And Mickey 17, 130. So they've had a string of hits this year. Even though all of them haven't been reviewed the greatest, people have paid their money to watch these films in the cinema. But even with that, you have to look at it as everyone is now watching stuff online. Not everyone, but a large majority of people are watching stuff online, and they're watching them through streaming apps: YouTube, Netflix, Apple TV Plus, Paramount Plus. The whole cable legacy broadcast, legacy TV show is it's fading away. And I think for companies like 20th Century Fox, like MGM, who recently got purchased by Amazon, now like Warner Bros, it's very hard for these legacy companies to transition to a newer way of working, because you have to imagine these guys have been running for over 100 years. They have stuff set in stone for so long that if you were to try and move stuff, it could potentially cripple how they run and finances, especially on the broadcasting side. There's so many thing like contracts, and you can show in this country and you can't show this in this country. It's like, for example, like football. So it makes sense as to why Warner Bros, the owners or the shareholders, are like, you know what, we've done as much as we can. Let's cash in now while we're at our highest. Because when you look at Netflix and what they're doing, you can, like I said in my last show, they're doing big things in streaming, and eventually the people who make the content, so Champions League, Premier League, NFL, all of these guys, they're gonna stop going to Warner Bros and the CBSs and stuff that are on traditional television, and go to Prime Video, go to Netflix, go to Apple, and say, hey, look, we want to showcase our product on your platform. But if we look at what Warner own, I mean, you've got everything from what Harry Potter, DC, Cartoon Network, all the HBO television shows, Succession, The Sopranos, their legacy, and like CNN, their legacy is unreal. So I mean, this sale will significantly impact Hollywood. It will. And the scary thing is that if a streamer comes now and buys Warner Bros, then the cinema industry, boy, it will probably be like the nail that, like, in 5 years time, 10 years time, cinema won't be what it is. Even 10 years ago, even when Endgame came out in cinema, it won't. And then we are seeing the signs now in cinema. But if this gets sold to like a streamer or an Apple or an Amazon, who have the money to do that, these guys have endless amount of money, then yeah, Hollywood's impact is, the balance of power is going to totally shift. But yeah, look, nothing has been sold at the moment, but yep, Warner Bros are officially set for sale. And yeah, of course, when more news becomes available, guys, I'll be keeping you in the loop. But let me know in the chat, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this news that Warner Bros are up for sale, which is crazy news. So yeah. How are we doing for time? All right, cool. We're on the last subject for tonight, and we're doing all right for time. So let's jump straight into the final news topic, and it's all about Stranger Things. So we have confirmation that the finale for Stranger Things season 5, which is going to be a 2-hour episode, will play in cinemas. It will play in theaters. So let's get into the news. The 2-hour series finale of Stranger Things will get a theatrical release after all. The climactic episode, titled The Right Side Up, will premiere on Netflix and in more than 330 movie theaters on the 31st of December. This is American time in, playing through to the 1st of January 2026. This appears to mark the first time an episode of a Netflix series will also be exhibited theatrically. Details on the precise theaters will be announced at a later date, according to the announcement from Netflix. This is going to be a moment in history. I mean, we've all been waiting for the latest episode of Stranger Things. It's been in production for a long time, and yeah, I think now's the right time to finish it. 5 seasons, even though 5 seasons have taken a long time to to release. I'm glad that we are getting this final send off. And what a way to send off, you know, effectively a 2-hour final episode is a movie. It's a movie length. And I'm glad that Netflix or the creators of Stranger Things are giving back to the fans and doing this global fan event. And I kind of think that's where cinema is going to get to. You know, cinema is going to become more so. I think people will, you know, people like myself, lovers of cinema, will still pay to go and watch films as such and go to the cinema. But I think cinema will end up like the art houses where, you know, you've got these exhibitions that you pay a lot for, but you know, you get something out of it. And this is going to be an experience, you know, a New Year's Eve cinematic experience. No one's going out drinking and stuff. They're going to watch Stranger Things. So yeah, I'm glad that they're doing it. There were rumors of Netflix not wanting to do it because, again, this is given into the whole cinema thing and they want everyone on streaming. But yeah, it's also a surprise because Netflix, they rarely do theatrical releases for their TV series. I don't think they have done one, but recently, you know, they've had success with the K-pop Demon Hunters, which was in cinema, then Netflix, and then they re-released it in cinema, and then they released a few weekends with like the sing-along sessions and stuff. There's also the Narnia Chronicles, which came out on IMAX. So yeah, this is big news, man. Netflix, they, like I said, they initially dismissed the idea, but I think the demand from social media and stuff showed that they had to rethink things. And yeah, now you're going to see a global massive release for a much loved TV series. And look, final episode is going to be I don't even know what's going to happen. I really enjoyed season 4. I thought it was back to a winning formula. I felt season 1 fantastic. Season 2 was cool. I didn't like season 3. Season 4, bang on with Vecna and how the story ties back to the first season and stuff. So I'm looking forward to it. The Stranger Things is going to have, well, season 5 is going to have 8 episodes. The first 4 episodes will release on the 26th of November. Then the remaining 4 episodes will be split into 2 other parts. So 3 episodes will release on the 25th of December, and then the final 2-hour episode will release on the 31st of December, bringing you into the new year. What a way. That's really cool. Let me know in the chat, guys, if you are Stranger Things watchers, if you like it, if you don't like it. I'm going to be there. Hopefully they do some cool events around the world, you know. It'll be interesting to see what they do, what cinema theaters they use. And yeah. But that is it for tonight, guys. And I appreciate you joining in. Appreciate all the comments, the likes. If you haven't already, don't forget to like the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel already. Next week, I'll be back at maybe a similar time or maybe a bit later, depending on things that are happening around that time. But I will have reviews for a film releasing next week. And yeah, man, we're just going to keep cranking these live streams out until the end of the year. I've got some really cool things that I want to do as well. So guys, look, I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the likes. Traitors, if you're here in the UK, Traitors is on in 10 minutes. So make sure you tune into that. And until next week, I catch you. Have a good weekend, guys. Peace.